What's up everyone on the internet? Thank you for making this video part today. I'm so excited to upload this one for you guys because for this video we're going to be taking a look at a long-awaited series that I immediately binged through when I got HBO Max, and that would be Chernobyl. So earlier this year I got HBO Max, and the one show that I had to watch, it wasn't Westworld, it wasn't Game of Thrones, it was Chernobyl. So this HBO original came out back in 2019, and it's actually a retelling of the events that unfolded when the Chernobyl nuclear reactor exploded in Russia back in 1968. And if I had to describe it in one word, it would be that this show is heavy. Oh my god, after watching this show, I have a much greater fear of radiation. Now every time I look at a nuclear reactor, I'm just gonna be thinking like, well, it just takes one little accident and then the radiation is gonna kill us all. Just being exposed to a small piece of graphite that came from the reactor, it's enough to emit so much radiation that it feels like you're being exposed to 4 million chest x-rays. And seeing the side effects of being exposed to that much radiation, it's also enough to make you sick to your stomach. I applaud the makeup department for this show for almost making me pass out when I was watching it, as you gradually begin to see how radiation deforms the human body. One example in particular is when you follow a small story of a firefighter who was actually a first responder when the reactor first exploded and the fire started growing, and you see his body slowly decay and almost become a zombie after he was exposed to God knows how much radiation. Now, while this show mainly focuses on the cleanup process and how the government was able to prevent radiation from spreading out across Russia and Eastern Europe, but it also focuses on how the government was able to prevent this information from leaking out to the public. It's really scary when you see how people in high power will deny the truth in order to keep that power within the government. Even though there is evidence presented right in front of them by scientists, it's unbelievable to see government officials dismiss the truth and present false lies to the public. Speaking of scientists, there is one moment where you see how sometimes following seniority is not always the right path. There's a character who's actually seen as one of the head power plant workers, and when you see how he treats the newer power plant workers, it's pretty intimidating, and it makes you wonder on what is the right thing to do. Do you stop the process right there and risk your job, or do you continue going forward and risk your life? Now, I'm pretty sure most of us would choose our life over our job, but back then, in that time, in that setting, it's scary to see how sometimes people would begin to weigh the options. Speaking of feeling unsettled, one of the best things about this show is the overall soundtrack, and Hildur Guðnadóttir nails it. For those of you who don't know, she also wrote the soundtrack for Joker, which is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. So you could say 2019 was a good year for her, as she was able to win both an Oscar and an Emmy for both Joker and Chernobyl. Anyway, while watching this series, listening to the soundtrack play in the background, you can feel this sense of claustrophobic and upcoming dread as you watch these workers try to prevent the spread of the radiation, while also watching unknowing citizens get exposed to the radiation. Fun fact, what also makes this soundtrack more authentic is that it was actually recorded in a working nuclear power plant. So overall, I really enjoyed watching Chernobyl, and I think what makes this show easy for me to binge as opposed to binging through Game of Thrones is that the story is contained within 5 episodes, and in those episodes you watch this incredible character arc between 3 characters as they work together in order to prevent millions of deaths. With that being said, because it's only 5 episodes, one could binge through the entire show in one sitting, but I strongly recommend against that because there is so much story and, more importantly, tone packed into one episode. Just watching one episode alone, it feels like the life and joy has been sucked out of you. The maximum amount of episodes I'd recommend is watching 2 per day. But even watching 2 episodes back to back, it's enough to put a downer on your day. Even more so when you watch episodes 2 and 3 as you begin to see the horrible effects of nuclear radiation. So overall, I really enjoyed watching the show, even though it's very dark and sometimes too depressing to watch. And if you're squeamish, you may want to look away because there were some points where I almost passed out. Again, hats off to the makeup department for making me feel this way. But more importantly, hats off to the actual people who prevented this disaster from spreading, because when you watch each episode, you are in shock to see that this actually happened. And knowing that the area surrounding Chernobyl won't be ready for people to live in for millions of years, you get a small chill go down your spine. So if you have some free time and you're looking for something to watch on HBO Max, go watch Chernobyl. But be warned, it will ruin your day. Last thing to do for this video, guys, that was my overall review for Chernobyl. If you like what you saw, click the subscribe button so you can get the latest updates from this channel. I'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye-bye.